Hi, we're here to discuss qualified income trust and the changes to New Jersey Medicaid, both in the nursing home and in the assisted living environment. Previously, if your income was above $2,163 on a monthly basis, you would not qualify for Medicaid in the assisted living environment, and in the nursing home, you would have to have the Med Needy program. Well, good news for many. In the assisted living environment, you can still qualify today, effective December 1st, 2014, even if your income is above $2,163. However, you're going to have to use the qualified income trust. And besides the assisted living, the nursing home environment is changing as well because there's no more Med Needy. Effective December 1st, 2014, the qualified income trust is in effect. So let's talk about that a little bit. What does a qualified income trust entail? Well, a qualified income trust involves specialized trust paperwork, the creation of a separate account in which monthly income will go into that account, as well as some other specific specialized rules that this account has. So let's walk you through the qualified income trust process. Firstly, the trust can be created by the resident who's applying for Medicaid, their power of attorney. By no means does it need to be set up by a lawyer. It can be set up by the resident themselves. However, the resident cannot be the trustee on the account. Every qualified income trust must have a trustee. Once the account is established, it needs to be funded monthly with the income of the resident. Now that's only the resident. You can't fund it through any other resource. You can't have any other income, say the spouse of the resident. Specifically, the income of the resident will go into the qualified income trust. Now, you can fund it with either your Social Security, your pension, whatever instrument or whatever income source you're going to use. The main criteria that you need to be careful for, though, is you cannot split any individual income source. So if I'm using my pension, I'm going to use my entire pension. If I'm using my Social Security, it'll be my entire Social Security. Now, it's very important to know that the trust needs to be funded on the month of eligibility. So if I need Medicaid in January, I need to have that trust set up in January and funded in the month of January. I mean, we can set up that trust prior, as long as you fund it during the month that you need benefits. So that's really a little bit of a risk factor, because if the trust is not funded, Medicaid eligibility could be lost for a period of time. Now, once this trust is in effect and ongoing on a monthly basis, the post-eligibility treatment of income will be the same as it is currently. Meaning, in other words, the cost share or the amount going to the facility, as well as the amount that's being retained by the resident for their P&A, for their insurance premiums. In other words, exactly what you're going to find on your PR1, your PR2, and your PR3, things will remain the same. However, the payments will be made by the trustee to the facility. The job of the trustee is to fulfill the financial obligations of the trust. So the situation that we just described is a working qualified income trust, so long as you fund the trust on a monthly basis as described. And it's just important to note that there are real risk factors here, because if at any given time there's a lapse in this process, suppose 1 month you don't fund the trust, that would create ineligibility for that particular month. Additionally, you have times where you're applying for Medicaid retroactively, and very often it's highly likely that that trust was not in place if you're starting the process today and hoping to get benefits a couple of months back. Very much like we have today with a pass. If there's no pass in place, you're not going to have benefits for the time where there's no clinical eligibility. On a general note, there are some concerns or things that you do need to contend with when you're setting this up, because you need to rely on the trust being funded. The ideal situation would be to have the income, which would either be the Social Security or the pension, directly deposited into the qualified income trust. The reality is, though, that to get a pension deposited away from the person who's receiving it and into another account can be very difficult to do. It's doable, but it's difficult. Social Security is generally easier to to change the destination of that income. And ideally, you would want to get that direct deposited. So this way you can avoid some of these issues by being assured that the money will go into the account. In conclusion, the Qualified Income Trust is the new reality for Medicaid applicants in nursing homes and assisted livings. It is the new reality for the facility, and it's the new reality of the applicant. It's critical that it's done correctly. There's too much at stake, and the risk of failure is real. My name is Neil Stern. I'm the Director of Marketing at Senior Planning Services. At Senior Planning Services, we optimize Medicaid eligibility. When we get involved with a family and we help them navigate the challenges of Medicaid, the risk of failure is diminished. It's reduced because the knowledge and the experience and the expertise of Senior Planning Services is put into play for every application that we support. If you have any questions about qualified income trusts, if you have any questions about Medicaid in general, feel free to call us at 855-775-2664. Again, that's 855-775-2664.